On this week's economic news, we saw the weekly average rated prime lending rate remained flat at 11.86%, despite an improvement in market liquidity, where the market liquidity improved to a deficit of 55 billion versus an 88 billion deficit a week ago. From an overall interest rate perspective, we feel that the lending rates are kind of bottoming out, while there is more scope for treasury bill rates to come down further. Particularly at this week's auction, we saw the 3-month treasury bill rates fall by 35 basis points, falling to 13.91%, which is the first time we've seen rates falling down below 14% for a while the 1-year treasury bill only fell by 1 basis points at this week's auction. Overall, we are seeing the yield curve kind of correcting itself, where the short-term rates are falling and while the long-term rates are holding at almost the current levels. From a fiscal perspective, the good news is that Sri Lanka is making progress on the privatization front, where 3 bidders have expressed interest for Sri Lanka Telecom, which will mean that the conclusion of the deal will take 3 to 5 months from today to reach conclusion. And this will improve Sri Lanka's balance of payment position, given that most of the interest has been made by foreign bidders, and will also help Sri Lanka reduce its debt burden from the proceeds that they get from the sales of some of these SOEs that they are willing to sell. From a inflation perspective, we saw vegetable prices increase almost by 100% week on week, which will negate the 3% electricity tariff benefit that the government is willing to pass on to consumers. From a fiscal perspective, also the IMF delegation is down in Sri Lanka this week, and a few areas that they have highlighted of importance is fast-tracking the property taxes, working on the private partnership laws, making changes to electricity tariffs, and also improving the bank recapitalizations 2024. From an external perspective, we've seen the currency appreciate over the last 2 to 3 weeks and currently stands at 321 rupees to the dollar. Tourism arrivals are helping towards a larger part in terms of improving our external position, with the first 2 weeks or 15 days of January seeing roughly 100,000 tourist arrivals coming to Sri Lanka.